Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I am Dustin and we are looking at Rivian, R-I-V-N for my Rivian gang. Now, the one thing that's most interesting to me, at least if we first start, if you know how I watch my videos, it is price. Price currently has a red background with black lettering, which means that it is 2 standard deviations above the mean. The price is still above its 20-day moving average, but it's not above its 5-day moving average. The 5-day moving average is still above its 20-day moving average, but when you look at this move that we've seen over the past, 10 days, nothing's going to catch up to that, so we're probably going to stagnate for a bit. The one thing I will say is that I do see that volatility is breaking out quite a bit, which you wouldn't expect with the type of price moves we've seen recently. The one thing that's interesting is that you see that the future path is still set price to rise, which has been correct since it gave it to us on the 29th of June when it was $16.01. It's almost up, 80% from there. We can see, though, that the one day for the past 3 out of 5 days, so this entire week, so 3 out of 5 days this week, the return was negative on the day. But it's super interesting because you still have a rolling positive 5-day, only by 49 basis points, which yesterday was up 18%. Today it's not. I mean, that's a crazy amount of loss. When you think about a 15-day rolling, you're up 75%. On a 1 month, you're up 68%. On the 3 month, you're up 84%. And on the 6 month, you're up 52%. So there's still a lot of positivity to be going around in Rivian. And there's probably a lot of people who are going to be bulls hold into the weekend. And here's a reason why I would be if I was definitely in it. Because I would say I'd look at the short term. We still have a go long at the intermediate term. We still have a go long on the longer term. We have a go long on the short term. We have a bullish on the intermediate, and the longer term we have bullish. If we look over here at the rolling sentiment, the thing that I'd probably say is that we're probably just still too overbought. We're at over 65% on all three, the 2, the 5, and the 10% daily average of bullishness. On the 10-day and the 23-day, we're at 64% and above. You want to just see this kind of fall back a little bit and kind of reclaim a little bit of a base. Back here when you were looking at what was happening in March, when it was happening in April, May, and the beginning of June, that's a proper base. When you get a move, it makes a lot of sense. Right now, we don't have a base to necessarily work with unless you're going to say $20 is going to be the support. We're going to go ahead and look at the daily sentiment indicator. This thing has been high and mighty. It has been fast and rising. And we do want to expect this thing to come back to closer to 50%, maybe even just 55% if you've been looking at some of the other videos today that we see like in NVIDIA. But right now, this thing looks like it needs just some time. We did not have a big volume day. You can see when the volume was really moving, was when the price was moving. We did not have a big volume day. You can see the volatility. The volatility has continued to break out, like I was mentioning earlier. The correlation is still positive. What I'd actually like to see is the correlation to go negative. If the correlation went negative, because eventually this thing is going to roll over, just like if you watched the video for Tesla, AMD, or AT&T earlier today, when you get a negative roll in terms of the volatility, and then the correlation goes negative while it's going, that means you're going to get upwards to sideways motion, which means you're starting to build a base. Right now, what we see is there's still so much enthusiasm and exuberance inside of Rivian. And look at this trade range. I mean, this thing goes all the way up to $29 and all the way down to $6.55. We don't want that. What we want is we want a nice tight range like this with a big move up that breaks out and then continues. It's going to take some time. This might end up not even being able to really move until like August or so, maybe even September, because the move has been so extreme. But there's definitely something to be said for this for the longer term. When we look at the ultra fast sentiment, we can see that again, we're at 66%. We're coming back off of that peak at 67%. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long or are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the New High newsletter. It comes out Sundays at 9 just for you. And we give you 25 plus stocks breaking out and hitting all-time highs. I'll talk to you soon.